One day, the president was telling a Fox News reporter that his reports were garbage, that it was not true that the Justice Department was considering paying $450,000 lawsuit settlements to illegal border crossers whose families were split up at the border. The next day, the same president was in front of cameras saying the families need to be compensated. A complete flip-flop in less than 24 hours. It had some commentators over the weekend wondering if the president is in the know on what's going on in his own administration. Joining us now is Congresswoman Lisa McClain from the 10th District. Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for being with us this morning. It was really odd to watch this take place because I watched the president with Fox reporter Ducey, and he was saying, you got it wrong. It's a garbage report. I'm sorry, that's just not true. And then suddenly, the next day, there he was passionately talking about how these people had to get paid, and it was such a flip-flop. Other than one little point, maybe, is if he was putting all of this emotion into the actual price of how much they're going to get paid. If this was $450,000 or some other number, but that didn't really add up to me just watching it in real time. What was your take?
Well, I have the same take as you did, because I watched that interview with Peter Ducey, and he was adamant that this is not true and it's garbage, which I was actually happy to hear. For the first time, I thought the president and I were on the same sheet of music on it is garbage that we're going to put illegal aliens who came over to break the law in front of Americans. Then I think it was 24 hours later, he walked that comment back. Unfortunately, this seems to be a pattern with this president, and therein lies the problem where I believe the American people are losing trust in this administration. Listen, as the leader of the free world, if you're going to pay up to $1 million to families of people who entered this country illegally, and you don't know about that, that's concerning. Or if you do know about it and forgot, that's even more concerning. At the end of the day, we need a strong leader. Remember, America is the most powerful nation or country in the nation. And I think there's a lot of growing concerns about what's going on with this administration.
He more than walked back the statement. I've seen people walk back statements. The next day, he was passionate. He did that thing where he really emphasizes it, and he's like, "They deserve to be paid, or they deserve the money." Whatever his exact quote was, I don't remember exactly. But he was very passionate about it. A huge swing from the day before. So
Kevin, I love the passion. I just wish he'd be consistent on what the passion was about. And I wish he would have that same passion for our veterans who are homeless on the street. Where's his passion for our veterans? Where's that at? I don't see that. It's such a double standard. It's such hypocrisy. I got to share with you, it just makes me mad.
I think it makes a lot of people mad. But do you think these are things that the Justice Department is saying, we need to pay this because legally we're not on strong ground, and if we don't pay this, we're going to pay a lot more if this thing ends up going to court? Or do you think this is something that the Justice Department or someone in the administration wants to do?
Going to court. These are people who came into the country illegally, I might add. We're talking about illegal immigrants coming over. This is completely insulting to any American. We should not pay one penny, and we shouldn't even entertain this, because what this behavior does, it incentivizes more bad behavior. So if your child goes to school and does something wrong, do you incentivize that behavior? Do you reward him? No. You make sure that you disincentivize that behavior, but that's not what this administration is doing. And what's even more concerning is I don't think the leaders are on the same sheet of music. I mean, you talked about football. Imagine if you had your head coach, your offensive, and your defensive coordinator, and none of those three people were on the same sheet of music. You wouldn't win many games, and that's what's happening.
You see the people coming across the border illegally, and they'll be interviewed by reporters down there. They seem really up to date on what's going on in American politics. It's almost like they know more about what's going on with the lawsuits and potential settlements for people who crossed the border illegally and were separated than the president knew about this situation.
And therein lies the problem. Isn't that a shame? I mean, just think about that. Not to mention all the people who are trying and going through the process legally to get American citizenship. I mean, you have these illegal people jumping the line. What does that incentivize? Well, you can either do something legal or illegal. And if you do something illegal, you'll get in faster. And, oh, by the way, we're going to reward you for that illegal behavior. Don't be surprised, because this immigration process is not stopping anytime soon. And I'm sharing with you, just like the drugs are coming to a town near you, so are all these illegals, and so is crime. Drug trafficking and drug use is up off the charts. It's a recipe for disaster, and we are incentivizing it.
Not to mention that we're watching the president talk about these vaccine or test mandates, and here at the border, we're not seeing any. We're not talking at all about testing or mandates for people coming into the country.
Well, isn't that another double standard? I did a town hall last week, and overwhelmingly, that was the biggest issue, was vaccine mandates. So we're going to mandate our frontline workers, our police officers, the people that were heroes a year ago. We're going to mandate that they take a vaccine. Why aren't we mandating it for all the people that are under the bridge? Why aren't we mandating it for all the illegals to come in? We're not. So where's the logic? Where's the consistency? I think that's what the American people deserve, is just be a little consistent. If we're so concerned about COVID that we are going to mandate and allow American citizens to lose their job, why don't we control our problem at the border? And why don't we mandate what's going on over there at the border? We don't. We stick our head in the sand and we punish the people that run to the problems first. And shame on this administration for that. Absolutely disgraceful.
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly the border is not a priority for this administration. They'll take questions about it if they have to, but they are not out front saying, here's our plan, here's our solution.
Clearly COVID isn't a priority either, or they wouldn't be letting people in without a COVID test, number one. And number two, I would think we would mandate a COVID shot for them. So it's not just the border that they're not paying attention to or they don't care about. Obviously, they don't care that much about COVID, or they'd fix it at the border.
All right, Congresswoman Lisa McClain, 10th District, thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate your time.